You're tuned to Radio Kidnappers, the voice of Hawke's Bay. This is a program called The Wonderful World of Wardini Books, and as always, it's my pleasure to have in the studio the wonderful Lou from Wardini Books. How you going, Lou?
I'm really well, Ken. Buzzing today.
You are buzzing. Why are you buzzing?
Don't know. Some days are just like that, aren't they?
Some days are diamond, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. And you've got three great books for us to have a bit of a look at, and the first one is called, and it's hard to believe we're talking about Christmas already, but Sarah's Two Nativities.
I love Christmas.
Same here.
This is one of the first Christmas books to come in.
Do you get up early on Christmas morning? Sorry to butt in, but...
Yeah, we always used to when the kids were little, and the kids try and get home again for Christmas now they're grown-ups, and we're still up by 8 o'clock. We kind of have this pact the night before, you know, okay, if you're not up, we're going to come and get you. But of course now it's not all... Anyway, never mind.
That's right.
All different conversation. But very excited about this book because this is the story of Sarah. It's a picture book for children, Sarah's Two Nativities, by Janine M. Fraser and Helene, I think it's Magison, it might be Magison, I don't know. Daughter of Sadek and Anna, granddaughter of Ali and Azar, and granddaughter of Maria and Paul. Mm-hmm. And everything's really laid out visually in that first double spread.
Yes.
So you've got parents of different races, you've got the little girl, and then you've got their grandparents. And everyone's happy. They're all visiting. They're bringing different foods and bits and bobs with which to start celebrating Christmas. And I think it's really lovely, because Grandmother Azar tells Sarah stories from the Holy Quran. And she comes to visit, she cooks a feast and lets Sarah help make the kofta, or kofta. And then, of course, Grandmother Maria tells Sarah stories from the Bible. And what do they make? Cupcakes. Something very prosaic. But yeah... and it just goes on like that. And then you do have the nativity stories. And they are talked about as stories, very sensitively, I think, because this is a book for people who are religious, might be practicing Christians or practicing Muslims, but also just for anybody, because we have Christmas stories and schools do nativity plays, don't they, whether they're Christian schools or not.
Indeed.
So some people will believe those stories are true, and some people will just enjoy them for stories. And I think this book celebrates all of that.
Yes.
And I really like the way that these two families get together, and it works. And this little girl, Sarah, is allowed to be all the things that she could be. And I think it's just really quite magical. And the illustrations are lovely, aren't they?
They are, they're
full
beautiful. I love
of
those
colour, and they're full of magic. And people who are different, but coming together because that's what whānau is.
Yes,
you know,
indeed.
And coming together with love, and I just thought it was absolutely delightful.
And I think they hit the nail on the head there. Enjoy the story for what it is.
Yeah.
Take out of it what you want to take out of it.
Well, it's a lovely story,
Absolutely
isn't it?
right,
The baby
yes.
being born and hope coming into the world, and, you know, it's lovely.
Well, I love Father Christmas and coming down the chimney and...
Very, very
the
excited.
jingle bells jingling in the background. And,
Yeah.
The tree.
And all the food and all the wine.
I love that too.
All of that.
Yeah, indeed. And the next book we're going to look at is called Impossible Music. What's that all about?
This is a young adult novel. It's very powerful. It's by Sean Williams. And it's about a young lad, Simon, and he is a rock god. You know, he's a 17-year-old musician. He's an excellent musician, and he's in a rock band, and got a bit of a following, and it's all going really well. And he wakes up one morning, well, I think it's in the night time actually, and he can hear absolutely nothing. His world has been plunged into silence.
Yeah.
And what's happened to him, he's had a stroke, and his ears are not affected, his ears are not damaged, but the part of your brain that processes sound is buggered. So he can hear nothing. And it's really him coming to terms with this new person that he's got to be. And he meets a girl called Georgie, who loves coffee, and he meets her at a class for the newly deaf. Something's happened to her as well as she's actually got tinnitus, and you hear about that and you think, oh, it's just a little whistling, but it's for her, it is an all-consuming noise. She can hear nothing else apart from the noises in her head. It's driving her completely bonkers.
Driving her mad.
Yeah, so they have to come to terms with their new realities, and it's really about that, and about he was going to go off to this university and study composition and study music. Can he still do that if he's no longer a hearing person? And he doesn't want to be deaf with a capital D. He doesn't want that to be his identity, but really it's got to become that. So it's about that, and it's also a coming-of-age story, because they're 17, 18-year-olds, and
it's a love story too.
It's a love story too, and it's really beautifully done, and it's absolutely fascinating, and it's quite not academic. What's the word that I want? A bit literary in places as well, because in the way that teenagers do think deeply about things, that's what these kids are doing. But they've got bigger challenges than a lot of teenagers have to face. So, brilliant. Just love it.
What do you scored out of 10?
Let's give it a 9.
9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Wow, that's good. Happy ending?
Yeah.
Is that a spoiler? Or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes it is, but I know you like to know if it works out well. It works out well in ways.
Yes.
Yes.
But not how you might be hoping.
Well,
Yeah. That's life, though, isn't it?
it is. And it is. It's about coming to terms with what you dealt with, isn't
Yes,
it?
that's dead right.
Yeah.
And our last book we're going to have a look at today is called Nailing Down the Saint.
This is a grown-up novel by Craig Cliff, who's a New Zealander.
Hmm?
And great cover,
It
eh?
is a great
We
cover.
were talking
I love
about
it.
that before. So beautiful orangey colours and a fresco, I suppose you call it. I'm not quite sure what you call that. So the saint involved in this book is Saint Joseph of Cupertino, and he was known for levitation, and he was persecuted in case it wasn't true, or if it was the work of the devil or something like that. But also people followed him, and he performed miracles. But he was a bit of a failure as a kid. He was really clumsy. Anyway, complicated story with Saint Joseph. But it's really, we begin with Duncan Blake. In the present day, he's a Kiwi filmmaker. He's in LA. He's had a fall from grace, and he's ended up working as assistant manager in a chain restaurant. And there's a girl that works there who's an actress and a writer, but it's really hard to succeed in Hollywood. So this is where good people end up. And she knows who he is. She knows his reputation. And there's this Hollywood mogul that comes in every now and again, and she says, you've actually got to say something and see if he can reboot your career. And so they're kind of scheming together. But also the girl has had to do some pretty nasty acting in order to get by. So she's been in some adult films.
Yes.
And Duncan has quite a funny scene where I didn't know that you could do this, but you can Chromecast from your phone and your TV will pick it up, and you can...
Yes. That's
That's the thing. I don't know. I'm
fandangle stuff, yeah.
not very techie. But anyway, Duncan has a terrible moment where his wife and his in-laws and his young son are watching Aladdin on the TV, and he's buggered off to the bathroom to check out what this girl's been doing in the adult films, and it Chromecast
on,
thing.
no.
Yeah, so that's an awkward moment. But anyway, long story short, the Hollywood mogul says to Duncan, you need to go and scout around Italy. I want you to go and location spot in Italy for a story that I'm desperate to do on St. Joseph of Cupertino. So it's Duncan going around with his old mate Mac from Kiwiland, who turns up, and she's quite an engaging, funny character. And they go round to all the old monasteries and convents and places where St. Joseph performed miracles, and they're trying to get hold of facts and things. But they have a bit of a mystical journey, mystical road trip of their own. So it's about him coming to terms with what he is now as a father and a husband. Is he a filmmaker? What's he going to do with his life? And, human relationships, but this mysticism of St. Joseph, and it was really weird and really entertaining.
Sounds fascinating.
Loved it.
Another 9 out of 10?
Yeah, I reckon.
Good one.
It's not everybody's cup of tea, but, if you want something a bit different, because, I don't know, some stories get a bit samey.
Yeah, that's right.
So if you want something that's just going to give you a bit of a kick out of left field, then
That's the book
try
to
that
read.
one. Yeah.
Okay, so if we want to buy any of those fabulous books, just remind our listeners where your 2 stores are.
We are 16 Tomato Road in Havelock North and 44 Hastings Street, Napier.
Facebook and a website too.
Yes, and
Look-
the Instagram.
And Instagram as well. You've got
Yes.
everything, but you don't even know what was it called?
Chromecast.
Chromecasters.
I do now.
As always, we are a pleasure and a pleasure too. You look after yourself. Talk to the same time, same place
You're
next
welcome.
week. Bye.